Welcome back. You are listening to another episode of the What's Next podcast. And if you can't answer this one question in your business, then maybe you shouldn't be in business. So Phil, what is that question?
Today's question, Luke, is why are you in business?
Now, you had a very good answer, and the answer could be that you would suck as an employee and you hated your job and you couldn't get a job. So then maybe that's your answer.
Yeah, I think if that was me, I'd be like, I just get fired too many times. So maybe there's a sign there to go, hey, look, being a business owner is probably the way to go.
But
the employee life is just too much of a battle.
Yeah.
You're causing too many problems. Go out there and do your thing.
Figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
We do like to see a business owner with a clear and strong purpose and reasoning and understanding of why they are in business. They make it so much easier to build a plan around that and then to help them figure out what they need to be doing.
I've got a fair few notes here. No doubt you do too. Probably a lot of scribbles from what I can see here. But I think a lot of people, when they say, well, why are you in business? The default answer would be to make money. The number one reason somebody's in business is to generate an income. And then that's when business owners will go, well, I've got cash flow problems. My profit doesn't equal my money in the bank. And you go down that path. The other side of the equation that people lose sight of with being a business is you're building an asset. And to make sure that it's an asset that's valuable and something that's ultimately saleable, you need to have a plan and you've got to know where you're going. And the biggest thing that you've got to kick off with is, well, why are we in business? What's the problem that we solve for the market?
Love it, mate. I've got just written down solving problems. I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners like to solve problems, and that's what is exciting about business. Now, I told the story recently, mate, but we have a client who has now 36 staff. Now, that started as a business where anyone could do it, basically, without revealing what it is, but they won't mind. They're going to come and tell their story, but I want to leave it for them to tell it in their own words.
Another accountant.
That probably happens a lot too. But this is a side hustle effectively. People could go out there and build a side hustle doing this, and then they scaled up and they started hiring people. Now they're at the point where they've got 36 staff and their turnover is more. We joked the other day on the phone. I said, remember when your goal was $1 million in turnover? And they cracked up laughing. But they are now at the point where they don't have to do as much in the business as they once would. And I said, look, you're in a very enviable position that a lot of people would like to get to, but you still have to figure out what you're going to do with your time because you're going to get bored as well. But just embrace it for a bit. It's okay to take some time to figure that out. So for them, it's not just about making more money, but they've solved a problem. They've made money. They've made more money than they thought they could in terms of turnover, but then goals change. Let's think about commercial buildings. Let's think about more people. Let's think about getting off the tools. Let's think about hiring more admin support, and margin gets played with and all those sorts of things. But they come back to, are they enjoying it and are they happy doing it? And I think that's a very big component of it as well.
Oh yeah, and often overlooked as well, that sense of, am I getting the level of fulfillment? And a lot of people, and admittedly myself included, probably you don't take enough time to sit back and going, gee, is this actually fulfilling? And it will come back to, well, are you doing the stuff that you want to be doing?
Yeah.
I must say, just coming back to that example, if you're running a side hustle and you've got 36 people, for other people that are running a side hustle without 36 people, you've got to level the fuck up.
It's doable. It's doable if you solve the right problem and it's a big enough problem.
Yeah, wow, as a side hustle.
Yeah. Well, it could be a side hustle.
Yeah, right, okay.
That's the potential of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that sense of fulfillment, which a lot of people in business, you spend so much time working in the business rather than on the business that you don't have the time to kind of think about that fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
And people, the fluffy stuff, da-da-da. And I used to be one of those people, kind of still am to a degree, because I just enjoy rolling up the sleeves and getting in and doing a bit of mahi. But it is important because it helps you make the decisions that are going to ultimately make the business a saleable asset.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't actually put time in thinking into what it is that they want their role to look like or their business to provide for them. And so then they just get caught in the the same thing for an employee, like a hamster wheel of, okay, I just got to keep this going. I've got to keep all the bills going. I talked to a business owner today that said they had to put money into the business to pay the staff wages. We're going to tell them about that. I'm like, heads up, they're probably not going to care.
No.
Yeah. You know, maybe one of them might, because they might be minded like that. They've been raised well, got good values and stuff. Think like, holy shit, man, that sounds intense. You know, yeah, okay. But the rest of them probably just like, well, so like I've got a mortgage to pay, I've got my rent to pay. I don't care if you had to put money in.
Thanks for ensuring I get paid.
Yeah,
That's what's important. I come here to get paid.
Yeah, so like, why are you even telling me this? We don't care. But then, unfortunately, I think what happens is we get lost in the doing all of that stuff and forget that, you know, we wanted to be able to go on a family holiday. We wanted to be able to take a week off. We wanted to be able to go play golf on a Thursday with the boys or with off the ladies' tee, whatever it is, right? And so
something you're familiar with?
100%. Not getting past the ladies' tee, actually, Phil. That's why I don't go and play golf anymore, because I've learned stick to your strengths, and golf is not one of those.
Smart.
Also, at the driving range, I seem to get through my balls a lot faster than everybody else and end up with a tweaked back at the end of it as well. So I've learned I'm even not very good at that.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, you've got to then design the business around what it is that you want the outcomes to be for you. Otherwise, I think it will just swallow you up. And you get paid last, you get nothing from it that you actually wanted from it, and then you resent it, and then you burn the whole bitch down. Some people do that, right? They just run them into the ground.
Yeah, they do. And I think, as we've spoken on earlier podcasts, again, flipping the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset, the market is big enough and there are enough people out there. So be really clear about what it is you do and who you do it for. And it's okay to say no. You don't have to be everything to everyone. So you could be a mechanic and go out and service every kind of car, and a blooming 1960s Mini comes in, yep, I'll service that. A 2021 Ford Ranger comes in, yep, I'll serve that. But you could actually build up a better reputation, be able to charge more, have fewer problems if you just say, you know what, I know that the most popular car in New Zealand is a Ford Ranger. They break down a lot because they're Fords. I'm going to absolutely niche down in that market and say, hey, to all you Ranger owners out there, this is what I can offer. And I can put you on a service plan that's going to be quarterly because you're going to need it. Let's get that on a subscription basis. And charge it to your credit card. We print in cash now.
Yeah, nice. That is good. Yeah, I mean, and it could even be you're doing supercars, or you're doing Porsche only, or you know, I'll come to you. You know, I'll don't worry about it. I'll come to you. And it could be cleaning cars, for instance, or whatever it is. But yeah, I think, you know, on that, mate, the old ideal client and the work we want to be doing, again, not enough business owners think about, okay, what is the work we want to be doing? Because then they're not thinking about why they're in business to start with. And then they just say yes to everything. They're not then putting it out to the market. You come to me, this is a sort of work that I want to do. So then they're just accepting it, and it all just goes, you know, downhill from there, rather than thinking, why are we in business? And therefore we need these types of clients. Let's go out and get them.
Nice, mate. And then when you are in business, jumping to another point that I had down here, this is going to really offend some people, particularly the newer business owners out there, because they put a lot of emotional energy into it, is the market does not care about your business name. And it definitely does not care about your logo.
No. Or your business cards.
Yeah, it's a shock that they still exist.
Yeah.
I've got my pile on the desk.
Yeah, I've got a few in the background. There's a couple in the background people might be able to see.
Yeah. Hey, if anyone wants a business card, email us and give us your address, and we'll post you, 100 of them?
They'll be in the bin at Next Advisory next time you pop in. If you pull one out. And, you know, to speak to our situation, mate, I think this is a good example where if we wanted to be richer and wealthier, Phil and I know exactly how to do it. And we would have gone out and we would be the specialists in rental property accounting in New Zealand.
Oh, preach it.
And we would be the most out there people, and we would be the authority. We'd be running trainings, and then you would come in and we'd say, look, you're going to need a wealth plan as well. We'd have a financial advisor. We'd say, look, you probably need to get your insurances reviewed and your mortgages. Hey, we've done your tax return. You don't actually have income protection insurance, but don't you worry, because Barry, the Baptist over there in the corner, he can save and protect your life. And we would cover all of those bases, and we would be fucking miserable, but we would have a lot of money and a lot of wealth and a big asset.
Mate, I just have knocked the microphone as I smacked my head into it thinking, why didn't we pursue that? Because not only that, we would own half of Auckland by now because we would be absolute property maestros and would be on the rich list.
Yeah, wow, yeah. If we stayed the path, there's a possibility, but you don't see too many residential rental property owners on the rich list, but let's not tell them that.
Hey, but we could be the first.
Maybe, yeah. When we do it with business and store the wealth in the property and then do some commercial stuff as well. Maybe get into some developments.
It is the backbone of the New Zealand economy after all, so I don't know why our business plan didn't niche down on property to begin with.
But I can tell you why.
Hey, we could pivot.
No, we're not. I can tell you why. Because that is boring, we don't enjoy it, and it's not fulfilling, and we wouldn't like it. Now, also, I didn't bust my ass for 4 years at university drinking piss. I mean, studying to get my accounting degree, to then go be a chartered accountant, take another 3 years to then get the experience, to then go out on our own, for then us to link up all those things, to then go, mate, I know what we should do. Let's get fucking rich by doing rental sets of accounts. And let's work with people that hate paying tax. The whole reason they have this investment is because it's not taxable. And that's going to be great. We won't even have to do tax planning. The more of these that we can do and the more people we can get in, mate, we're just going to be filthy rich. This is genius. No, because that doesn't add any value. That doesn't give, in our eyes, well, like to our lives, because it wouldn't be that fulfilling compared to working with a client that we see go from nothing, side hustle type role, through to hiring 36 people, to the point where she said to me the other day that one of her staff said to her, oh, this job saved my life.
Oh, that's deep.
And I said, I bet that meant more to you in your business journey than any of the largest invoices you've sent in your whole journey of business. And she said, hell yes. That's the shit that raises us up and gets us going, and we think adds value to economy, not let's get rich off of property rental returns where people don't want to pay any tax and they want to get all their leverage and get the next one and get pissed off about the interest deductibility rules changing. Leave us out of that. That's someone else's thing. And if that's what you want to do, that's completely fine.
Fill your boots.
But that's not why we got into business.
Yeah, and I guess that just illustrates in our industry how big the market is, in that there is accounting and tax and businesses, and we can just narrow right down to go, okay, well, if we're doing this, then we're not going to do it for this type of person. We're not doing it for this type of business. We're not doing it for this type of industry. So therefore, there's all of this other stuff that's left over that really floats our boat. And we're at the point now that we're quite confident in how clear that is, so that when somebody gets in touch with us that doesn't meet that criteria, and we have our own little internal clocks or sniff tests or intuition, where we're just like, this doesn't feel right, and we're just like, hey, look, thanks for getting in touch, but this isn't right for us on this occasion. All the best with what you're doing. Here's someone else that's probably going to be better suited to you, because we know that the market's big enough and we're in business for not only financial reasons, but a sense of fulfillment as well.
Yeah. I'll give you an example from today, mate, and you'll like this because I haven't shared this one with you yet. But basically, someone in the financial advisory type space reached out to me, said that they would like to catch up for building a mutual relationship effectively. We've seen that 100 times in the last 8 years. We are basically, so let's swap some leads and you scratch our back and whatnot. We're just like, we don't want to play that game. We're going to focus on doing our own marketing, doing the work to generate our own work, generating our own leads. We don't need to play that game. Now, I said, look, like we don't really get asked those questions, so there's probably not any point in us catching up. There's probably not stuff that I could hand on to you, but cheers, getting in touch basically. Anyway, then I hear again, hey, I've got a multi-business owner who I think would be great for Next Advisory. Before doing an intro, I'd love to catch up with you in person, and I'm in Auckland in September. Can we please meet? And I'm just like, nah, that sounds great, but in my intuition, just like, I know that I'm busy in the middle of September.
Yep.
You're potentially going away as well. And I just said, hey, like, thanks for thinking of us, but availability is very scarce in September. Like, it's okay. That's not a win for us potentially. Now, maybe I've just removed our ability to pick up the biggest client that we've ever had, or whatever. But I know that we're doing enough to bring in work that I can trust my gut to go, you know what, like, I don't need to play that game. We can back ourselves to win our own work, and you can say no, and it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And it's okay for us to say no because we know how much effort we put in to bringing people towards us and to get the right types of clients that when that stuff happens, we can go, you know what, like, nah, I'm going to pass on this, and we can trust our gut or just say, like, this one's not for us.
There'll be a lot of people listening to that going, fuck, Luke, you're mad, and Phil, like, why aren't you arranging to meet with this person because there's potentially your biggest client on the line? But I'm sitting here quite confidently going, I know that Luke's made the right decision 110%, because if somebody's having to use their biggest client as an intro to meet with you, like, it's not worth it, because if that business genuinely wanted to work with us, the decision maker would contact us.
Bang. Love it. Yeah. And that's,
and they haven't.
Yeah.
This person, whoever they are, and I don't know, you're just sharing this now, is using a carrot to get FaceTime with you. And if that's what they got to do, and you've got such a great filter to be able to go, nah, and then I know that if there's a business owner that wants to work with us, the person that's empowered to make the decision and is committed to change will contact us. Yeah. And in this case, that hasn't happened. So there's actually been nothing lost.
Yeah, yeah. Great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are the little things that we've had to learn over the years ourselves to figure out why are we in business and what type of client do we want, and then where do they come from? So when these little things happen, yeah, sure, we're going to miss the odd one. And I hand on heart, I know that there'll be some we miss that we go, oh shit, that could have been a good opportunity. But we'll still get ours. You know, we're doing enough to know that the business owner will come to us, not this one, but a business owner that needs our help, that vibes with us, and they will say, look, you know, and so, yeah, we have to accept that we'll miss the odd one. But I think so many people are still at the point where they're not doing anything to generate work for themselves, that they just have to go like, oh shit, yeah, that'd be amazing. Like, oh, I'll fly to wherever you are. Let's catch up. And we did that in the early years, so we know.
Oh man, we clocked up some miles in the early days, going to meetings together.
Going to people's houses, all sorts.
Yeah, a lot of fun though.
Yeah, we did have a lot of fun. The drives there and back and the shit, mate, do you reckon we'll get them as a client? No chance. I will send them a proposal when we get home. Yeah, great. Hey, that was weird, eh? They didn't reply. We drove 48 minutes to their house at 6 p.m. at night together, and you sacrificed time with your family. Like, thinking about that, that was kind of weird that they didn't respond. But like, that's the stuff that you go through. Yeah. And you know, I think if your why becomes strong enough, then you go out there and you get hungry enough where you're bringing things towards yourself, so that you then avoid some of those things. You start protecting your time, and that's what I think a lot of business owners need to remember, that they probably got into business to get in control of our time, but very quickly we get out of control of it because someone wants to meet with us when they feel like it, outside of hours, etc.
I think the point that raises is we start worrying about stuff that actually isn't important, rather than actually going and taking action, even if it's a little bit of action on things that are going to move the needle. Yeah. And like on the earlier point around the market not actually caring about your logo or your business name or the type of packaging you've got, it's like, what's the problem that you've got that's a solution for somebody else? Put it out to the market, and are they going to buy? And asking 10 people isn't the market. You've got to ask and ask and ask and ask and ask relentlessly to then get no after no after no after no after no, to then go, fuck, actually, I'm doing something wrong here. Is it my sales pitch, or is actually my product is not fit for the market? Tweak it. Keep asking. There's multiple ways to go to the market these days. We've never been in such a luxury to be able to sell stuff across multiple channels. And that just reminds me, listening to, and I spoke to you about it a week or so ago, the Dom Harvey podcast with Suzanne Paul.
Yeah.
And her story of coming from England, ending up in Australia, then coming to New Zealand, and her business journey of ultimately just selling stuff direct to consumer, and was really the queen of the infomercial stuff. And I reflected back on that, and she was doing that, and I remember her blooming fronting up in breakfast TV and, you know, stuff that's now dying. We didn't have the internet back in those days.
Nah.
She was out there old-fashioned hustling, and she says this in the malls, like selling stuff direct to people. No. And she even said in the thing, every no leads you to the next yes, because there is somebody out there that's going to say yes. You've just got to keep asking. And she's trained multiple people and had them in multiple locations, and then goes into a TV setup on the phone. none of this internet, none of this email, no social media marketing.
Yeah.
It was old school, hardcore hustling. And if she can do it, and it worked back in those days where there wasn't the luxury of technology, what of excuse have you got today?
Mate, it's when you start studying marketing as well, now when you watch an old school TV advert, you realize that actually a lot of advertising is based off of that. So next time you see the steak knives, for instance, but if you buy in the next 30 minutes and there's, scarcity, so then they're putting deadlines, and then but wait, there's more. Yeah. And it's all stuff that you think is kind of funny, but you realize like, oh, these are all tactics, and they're actually really good to record and study and figure out, fuck, how do they capture my attention so much? And quite often it's like, not only are you going to get the steak knife set, we're also going to throw in the and then the peeler and all this. And you're like, oh, well, and then they price it all.
Where's the phone? I want to call them now.
Yeah. And they price it all up. And then it's like, but it's not going to cost you that. And they strike through it.
Yeah, that's right. And if you call in the next 10 minutes,
you're going to get it for this price. And so you've seen all the value you're going to get. They strike out the price. Here's your new price.
And then if you call in the next 2 minutes, we'll do it over 4 equal installments. Hey, really breaking down those barriers.
If you go onto a website that is getting you there from an ad for, selling you something online, often all those same principles are there. Like, was that, strike through, this is the price for the next 24 hours, those sorts of things. And you realize that those ads were so powerful at getting people to spend money that they've been modeled into the day and age of today. Did Suzanne Paul, Thin Lizzy herself, did she explain why she was so hell-bent on business and what drove her?
She had an interesting upbringing in the UK, and there was this it came across in the podcast, a definitive moment in her life where she was made to feel like crap, and she was just like, no, I'm better than this. I can do more. Her father and mother were very working class type families, and money was scarce, but she, I think, naturally had this abundant type mindset where she just could push herself. And she just had the attitude of like, there's people out there that want to buy, I'm prepared to sell, I find something to sell and I'll make money. And she listed down or recalled some of the stuff that she's sold in Australia and New Zealand, and it's a massive list. And I'm like, holy moly. They talked about the thousands of luminous spheres or whatever. Is that the Thin Lizzy or something? And then there was a Suzanne clip. There was some clip that was she called, but yeah, she just had this ability to go out and hustle, and she wasn't afraid to hear no. And I think that put more fire in her belly because it had the memories of the past of basically, well, you can't do this because da-da-da-da-da. And she's just like, no, I'm going to prove myself, and built $1 million business and put herself into positions where she could ask.
Yeah.
And even if it was a no, she'd just carry on, and she would be just relentless in asking. And asking didn't necessarily have to mean a sale, but it was just positioning herself for whatever that next move is.
What an inspiration. Speaking of inspirations, mate, I've got a good story for you here. This is a young lad, 12 years old. So basically, he's put together a flyer. Now, it has a picture of a bike on it, and I don't really know what the bike is, but I'll show Phil the bike there.
Yeah, mountain bike. Looks pretty fancy.
Pretty fancy mountain bike. And he says, hello, fellow neighbours of, and then I've blocked it out, but it looks like it's the street. My name is whatever their name is, and I live at number 33 at the end of the street. I'm currently saving up for my dream bike and seeking some work to earn some money that I can put towards it. If you need your lawn mowed, firewood stacked, or dog walked, I would love to help out.
What a hustler.
For me to reach this dream, I have to save up everything, so I will work hard. No job is too big for someone as determined as me. If you're interested in me giving you a hand around the house, ring or send me a text on 02 whatever, and then they've got a picture of this mountain bike.
Oh!
So they go around the neighborhood handing this out. Now, someone sent this to me in their neighborhood, and it says, this 12-year-old legend knocked on our door the other day. I'm currently trying to find any job we can to support him. All you have to do is ask.
Oh.
It's such a good lesson. It's a 12-year-old. And I think there's some really good pieces in here that we could unpack. And one, he knows why he's in business. Like, he knows what he's trying to achieve.
Yeah, that bike, bloody good bike too.
Yeah, and it's material. And the funny thing, a few people message me, "Oh, that's a really expensive bike.
It is,
Good
yeah,
luck,
over
blah blah blah."
$1,000.
And I'm like, don't shit on the kid's dream, man. Leave him alone. Let him do his thing. So he's starting with a material goal. That's cool. But what he's doing is he's going out there and he's telling people, I'm currently saving up for my dream bike. If I get this pamphlet from this kid, I'm thinking, oh shit, man, this is pretty emotional. And what he's done is he's basically then showing you it so you can visualize it. He's told you it's his dream. He's then told you he'll help you. Here's some different examples of ways. And then he's saying, I'll work hard. No job is too big for someone as determined as me. And then people feel like they want to help him achieve the goal. Wow. And so this neighbor is like, we're trying to find any job we can to support him.
What part of Auckland? Is he in Auckland?
I don't know where it came from, to be honest.
Okay. I was going to say, man, if he's...
you want to send him around?
Oh, man. Jeez. Yeah. I rate that stuff. And my mind's immediately going, I want to help this kid, because then it's like, well, mate, come back to me once you've done work for all of the neighbours. Tell me the work that you've done, how long it's taken you and what they've paid you, which one's paying you the most on an hourly basis, and then go back to them and knock on their door and ask for more work.
Nice. Yeah, good. Yeah, and take your lessons, right? So, yeah, I really hope that this kid achieves that. And I think, imagine if he's then biking around the neighbourhood on that bike, what other people in the neighbourhood are going to think.
Yeah.
And there'll be some lessons for other kids in that neighborhood as well. There'll be lessons for the parents. But I think it just shows you that if you know why you're doing it, then you'll be prepared to do things you might not ordinarily have done. And also, if you're very committed to telling people and passionate about it, then other people want to support your dream and your vision as well.
Yeah, bingo. It'd be interesting to know whether that kid has got siblings and how the siblings react. And then initially what the parents' thoughts were, but they should be bloody proud of their kid for putting himself out there, because it's not easy. We're not taught to just be up. I think it's the Kiwi way, just to remain kind of like hidden, because we're scared of that tall poppy thing. But he's going out there, and by sending out flyers or knocking on doors, what's the worst that's going to happen? No one texts him or gets in contact with him. Yeah. But I think the emotional attachment to that story and putting a picture of that bike, man, this kid's going somewhere, because both of us are sitting there going, my mind's going, shit, I got a car that could do with a clean. Come around.
Yeah, awesome, eh? I think I've seen before that some of the best salespeople are the Girl Guides with their biscuits.
Oh, love a Girl Guide biscuit.
And it's much this. I bet the chocolate ones as well. You would have loved that year when they brought those out.
Oh, yeah, but I am part the plain ones.
The plain? Okay.
Yeah, but they've stopped. I'm pretty sure they've stopped the Girl Guide biscuits now. Shame.
It's 2024, mate. You're probably not allowed to like knock on someone's door and sell biscuits or something. But that's genius, right? Like young people turning up at your door. Would you like to support our cause? Buy these biscuits. And you're like, it's pretty hard to say no to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some lessons there for us. But yeah, I think bringing it back to us individually, goals, lifestyle, and is it material? Is it not material? Like, what is your thing? Why are you doing what you're doing? If you can get closer to that, then it becomes easier to know what it is that you need to do on the day by day, or dig in when it starts getting tough.
Yeah, that why should be your anchor. And I think in those moments where you're kind of sitting there going, why am I do this? Then you've got to think of that anchor to then go, shit, this is why I'm doing it, because it should be motivating. Yeah. And it should be a stretch. Much the same as as we've been listening to this, that bike for the kid, I'd replace that with a picture of the Porsche. And I've got that clear as day in my mind. And then when you're sitting at your desk and you're looking at some punishing tax return, or you've got a email and you're just like, I'm not really in the frame of mind today. It's just like, right, I can start imagining what that future state is and go, well, if I want that, I've got to go through this. It's painful at the moment, but on the other side of that, I'm another step closer to this next step.
Going 200 down the motorway in the Porsche. Just kidding,
And then get it locked up for 28 days and then probably get in an ankle bracelet.
It concerns me that you already know how many days it gets locked up for. It sounds like you've done your research to, you'll be doing this in controlled circumstances down there at Hampton Downs.
Oh, 100%, mate. Yeah, we're responsible here.
I think the final thing I will add is remember that business is a vehicle of choice and we choose to be in it. So if you're not enjoying it, well, you chose to get into it most likely. So then own your shit that you're in it and that it is your vehicle of choice, and you've got to do the work to build the business that you want, and no one's going to do that for you. It shouldn't be easy. It will be challenging, but this is why business owners can make more, they can contribute more, they can solve problems, they can hire people, they can change people's lives, they can fix things. If that's the vehicle that you've chosen, then lean into that, own it, and knock it out of the park.
Nice, mate. Nice.
Righto. Hopefully that has helped you think more about why it is that you're in business, and you can write that down somewhere, visualize it, tuck it away, and hold on to it when the going gets tough and you know that you need to dig in and get shit done.